Hi guys, happy October. For me it's actually still September because I have to film this video in two parts because I am moving to Vienna and I want to show you the books I read this month, and so I'll film this part now. I think today is like the 21st, and then the rest I'll film as soon as as soon as the month of September is actually finished. So this will be, yeah, a little time travel here. I hope you don't mind. So the first book I read this month, I actually did a review on, and that was The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I absolutely loved this book. If you want to see my in-depth review, it's pretty long. I'm gonna put it right here in a little annotation. You can watch it, and you should definitely get this book. It is so well written, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the second one. I think it should be out sometime in 2014, so that is wonderful. I really, really liked it, and I also really like this book itself. I like the cover art and everything. It's really wonderful. You should definitely check it out. The next book I read is one that I have been wanting to read for like literally ages, and it's Cinder by Marissa Meyer. The first book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I think there's supposed to be, I don't know if there's like a set number, but for now I think there's 4 that are planned. Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. This is a fairy tale retelling, if you didn't know. Obviously, the story is Cinderella, as suggested by the title, but it is with sci-fi elements, dystopian sort of-ish, and because Cinder is actually a cyborg, which, if you didn't know, because I didn't know, is a human that has been, like, implanted some parts of a robot, which is pretty awesome. I wish I were a cyborg. I mean, it must be really convenient. But anyway, I really enjoyed this book. It was so much fun. I loved all the characters in here. I loved her relationship with her younger sister Peony. I think Kai is pretty wonderful, and I really, really want more of them. Like, I want more of this entire series. Back to back after this book, I read Scarlet, which is the sequel. But Scarlet is obviously the Red Riding Hood retelling. My biggest problem with Scarlet is that there was not enough Cinder in it. I just really love Cinder as a character, and Scarlet is nowhere near as awesome. So the third book I read ties in really well with those two because it's also a fairy tale retelling, and that's Fathomless by Jackson Pearce. Jackson Pearce has written a bunch of fairy tale retellings, but this is the only one I have read. This is The Little Mermaid, and I really enjoyed it. I love that it was dark and yet still sort of accessible in a way. It was not too dark. I don't like it when they're making just depressing straight out, but this was dark and still nice, if that makes sense. I really appreciate fairy tale retellings that are really close to the original story and that don't dilute all the kind of creepy stuff that often is part of the original fairy tales. But nowadays adaptations, they're usually just like toned down and censored, and it's like, oh, and everything's nice and beautiful. But original fairy tales were nothing like that, and I like that they kind of kept with that in this book. The last book I've read in the first half, sort of the first 2/3 of this month, is The Selection by Kiera Cass, and this book really surprised me. I went into this prepared that I was going to hate it, and I read the first chapter. I was like, okay, this is it. This is gonna be another Selena Zardothian, who you guys know I absolutely loathe. But no, dirty. But I was actually really positively surprised by this book. I really enjoyed I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the heroine. I even didn't have that big of a problem with the love triangle because it was a love triangle that made sense. It wasn't just one person randomly just falling in love with everybody around her. It was one person who had a relationship with someone for 2 years, and then he kind of sort of breaks up with her, and then she's supposed to go to the selection where the prince of the country is basically looking for a wife. It's like The Bachelor in a dystopian world, which is very strange. And actually America, the protagonist, is friends with the prince at first. She tells him like, hey, I already love someone else, let's just be friends and I'm gonna help you find a wife here. And that's great. I really love that they started off as a friendship because that's something we see hardly anything of in YA novels these days. Like, they all fall in love like that. They never start off as friends, and I really like that. Tonight, take me to the other side. Sparks fly like the 4th of July, and I know we ain't friends I'm not good at singing this song. Just forget about that. Welcome to October, because September is up, and time travel. Isn't that wonderful? I love time travel. Benjamin Franklin, time traveler. No reference to that. Anyway, here's the rest of my wrap-up video, which is very short, this part at least. So, another book I read this month is The Elite by Kiera Cass. I already talked about this a little bit in one of my previous videos. So, as I said, I actually really enjoyed the selection. I thought that America was a very, very interesting character. I thought she was a strong person. She seemed like she had stuff figured out, you know? In The Elite, it is just ridiculous. Like, things just blow up, really. The whole love triangle is such a pointless thing. I don't understand the concept of love triangles, because I'm like, pick one. Like, just do it. I don't care. Throw a coin. I really don't care. Just pick one. This is so unfair to the guys, and it's so unrealistic that they just let themselves be played with in such a way that just like grovel at her feet and fight for her approval without ever like asking anything from her, like with just putting her on this pedestal of perfection and amazingness, and she can just have her pick for like ever. I guess that you can be like, I don't know quite, like I don't really know how I feel about this for like a little while. I can understand that, but for such a long time, and if the guys really stick with that for such a long time, that's just not, I don't understand that concept in general. So that was something that I hated about this book. And another thing is America becomes this whiny, pathetic little person that just starts randomly crying at the weirdest moments. And I'm like, you know, you can cry when you're sad, but if you just, there's like one scene that just drove me nuts, and it's seriously, like, the maids bring her a black dress to wear, and she starts just bawling her eyes out because she thinks someone might have died. Like, not even sure who. She's just starting to mourn some person she might not even know. And then it's just ridiculous to me. It's just something I can't fathom. America's pretty pathetic in this book, and I'm just dreading the one, which is supposed to be the conclusion. I think this book, this story, this entire story is just not the kind of story you can stretch out over 3 books. And if it had just been the selection, like as a standalone novel, that would have been really, really good. They should have wrapped it up nicely. And at this point, I don't even care who she like is together with. I don't care, because I hate all 3 of them to death. I cannot stand them. And the end of this is a little bit better. Like, the first half was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then the end was sort of okay. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole, we're gonna change the world thing. I mean, I get it's dystopian, but it's so like forced. It's not a natural dystopian story where there's like, I don't know, the characters are really driven to change something. America does have a lot of problems in her life, especially back when she was a 5, but I don't know, there's just no real like drive in her or in any of the other characters to really change anything. It's more like a side note, like an afterthought, where the author was like, you know, as a romance novel, this is not gonna like sell well, so let's just throw in a few of those dystopian elements because they're so sought after at the moment, but they're nothing really thought out, they're not really put together, they're not really well executed. So overall I was really, really disappointed by this book, and I'm probably gonna read the one just because out of curiosity. I do want to know who she ends up with, but I have like little to no hope for it at all. And the last book I read this month was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I just got this last week, and I really, 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 really enjoyed this book, like so much. This book is about a man called Nick Dunn, and he is married to Amy, and Amy suddenly on their 5th wedding anniversary, she disappears. Well, not quite without a trace, because there's like signs of a struggle in their house, and Nick is completely confused. He has no idea what's happening, and all of a sudden he is the prime suspect in the case. And he finds it very, very strange because there's a lot of things that are going on that he doesn't quite understand, and then it all comes together in a combination of craziness and ridiculous awesomeness. Like, I'm not even sure who would call this a thriller, but it probably is. And one quality I really cherish in authors of this genre is when they can make you think that you're so onto them, and then you're not. So Gillian Flynn is just incredible. She really makes you think that you know exactly what's going on. She makes you think like you're so smart, like you figured it all out. It wasn't easy, like it's not those obvious clues that they keep feeding you in like most teen novels. Books where the foreshadowing is just so in your face that it's more just like literally spelled out for you. There's not a lot of foreshadowing in this book, there's just clues of things or like words or sentences that you think you're so smart because you know exactly what they mean, and the author has nothing on you. You have figured it all out, and then it turns out that's exactly what she wanted you to think, and it was all bullshit. You were totally wrong. Everything is just craziness, and you have been told lies without even knowing they were lies, and you have been told truths that you thought were lies, and you have just been entirely and 100% confused and turned around and played with. I love books that can make you do where you're just like sitting there like, am I right, am I right, am I right, am I right? No, I was, what? Those are the best kinds of books where you just, your mind is blown and you have like, it's so good. If you want to know more of my thoughts on this book, I am filming a proper review after this video because I just have to talk about it. It's just that good. And there are gonna be some spoilers in it, but let's just do like a discussion video. It's probably best to do a discussion video because I think you should really not let yourself be spoiled on this book. You shouldn't let it be spoiled for you because it takes the entire point of it away. It takes everything away, and the book is just a story, and it's not a mind twist anymore, and that's what made it so special and so wonderful. So yeah, this was a bit lengthy. I know I have no idea where all these words are coming from, but I feel so inspired to talk, maybe because I haven't done anything all day except go to one class and learn how to say Hajimemashite, Teresa desu, dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu. I'm so good at Japanese now. Yeah, totally not. Anyway, I will see you guys soon, and I hope you're having a lovely week. Bye!